As a mangaka at Type Moon Chapter 271 to 280. 271 Communication. Bang, bang, bang. Bullets, each carrying powerful force, were fired towards Saber. Alucard's River of Death was not a rigid technique that required full liberation in this situation. However, he still did not use the magus, dead apostles, and Vortigern within his River of Death. Not yet, not yet. Now was the time for the hunt. Hunter and prey. It wasn't time to give it your all yet. Damn it. Mordred shouted loudly, the colorful light shining on her noble phantasm. The dazzling pillar of light once again swung out, evaporating half of Alucard. Rang. A bullet hit her forehead, cutting off a piece of flesh from her head, blood flowing down. Ha ha ha, humanity is over. Saber, you can consider your battle over here. It's a pity, if you could survive until the end, being killed by you wouldn't be bad. What a shame. Checkmate. Bang. Bullets were fired, and fresh blood splattered. I say, isn't it about time to stop? Having once again repaired his damaged heart, Kazuya looked at Bartholomew Lorelei, who was panting heavily, and said, "You can't be killed, can you? Who knows?" Kazuya shrugged, seeming a bit relaxed. If it weren't for the clothes with patterns that couldn't be covered on his body. The origin bullet was hidden aside, ready to be used anytime, but for other magus, it was a different story. This was Bartholomew Lorelei they were dealing with. If he really killed her or disabled her magic circuits, his life afterwards would be quite miserable. Much worse than being sealing designation. So, it wasn't that he couldn't do it, it was just that he genuinely didn't want to. As for others, Bartholomew Lorelei had killed him 3 times. But the magical energy from Artoria stored in Avalon had only consumed about 1/10. In other words, he could resurrect 27 more times. How wonderful. Avalon was truly wonderful. After using it 27 times, he could summon Artoria again and replenish his magical energy. At this moment, he felt so comfortable, even after dying 3 times. As for the pain of death, having died so many times in dreams, he had become accustomed to it. He felt nothing, and even wanted to laugh. Having obtained Avalon, and using Artoria's magical energy for replenishment, at this moment, he felt like the entire world was saying to him, "Go ahead and indulge, go ahead and indulge." Bartholomew Lorelei narrowed her eyes, watching Kazuya's head slowly regrow, watching his heart gradually recover. Moreover, this guy's combat power wasn't low, the ripple he used earlier, right? Well, Dio had already appeared, so it might as well be a ripple. But why couldn't he be killed? Could it be that this guy had acquired Alucard's abilities as well? Bartholomew Lorelei realized that there was such a possibility. When a mangaka loses control of their character's abilities, it's just like an author losing control of the abilities in their novel. It wasn't something unacceptable, but that meant becoming a heroic spirit after death. Why did this guy, who was clearly still human and alive, have such a bizarre ability? Killed 3 times. Not to mention 3 times, this guy could probably be killed 30 times without any problem. But it was just too strange. It was fine if dead apostles had this kind of ability. This guy was still human, right? He was still alive, right? However, what's with your confident attitude? Do you think you can't be killed? Or do you have the confidence to defeat me? Well, who knows? Kazuya smiled. The Holy Grail War. In the end, it's just a Holy Grail War. We don't need to go all out for it. Yeah. Then, how about you unleash your ripple breathing technique? Bartholomew Lorelei extended her hand, indicating. After all, even if the Holy Grail prolonged the ley line, who knew how long it would last? But if she could use the ripple, well, let's talk about it after the Holy Grail War is over. No rush. Kazuya waved his hand, not intending to hide the ripple breathing technique from spreading. Of course, not now. In fact, the decline of the ley line was beneficial to him. Ley line diminished, magical energy disappeared, but the ripple wouldn't vanish. Ah, right, those enforcers from the Holy Church also wouldn't experience any decline in their combat strength. It was more like black technology than witchcraft. Body modifications and such. In the future, even if resources don't regenerate, it shouldn't matter. After all, the regeneration speed of these resources couldn't keep up with human consumption in the first place. Isn't it just not regenerating? Shouldn't be a problem, right? He didn't have much research on these matters. If worst came to worst, he could use D4C to escape. After all, the seeds of that stand had already been planted, and awakening was only a matter of time. Moreover, D4C could even bring people through parallel worlds. But, when two similar things collide, they annihilate each other. Like two similar people, two similar clothes. They would disappear upon contact. Well, thinking about it, he came up with a way to break through Avalon's absolute defense. Throw another Avalon at it. So, he didn't care whether magical energy declined or not. Anyway, he could learn or draw other abilities from his manga. With the decline of the ley line, it meant that fewer and fewer people could fight him. He was getting safer and safer. Kurikawa Kazuya, what is your goal? Bartholomew Lorelei calmed her breathing, and if it weren't for the wounds on her body, it was as if nothing had happened. Are you trying to stop us from prolonging the ley line, or do you have some wish to fulfill? Neither. I'm just simply enjoying this. Whoever gets the Holy Grail in the end, whoever makes a wish. Well, I don't care, so, can we end it here? Just because of that, you want to hinder our wishes? Just with that determination, Bartholomew Lorelei said, and magical energy once again ignited. Kurikawa Kazuya was in a dilemma. Should he kill her? Defeat her? Or run away? Continuing like this had no meaning. He only had 2 spells left, and using them here was unnecessary. Although, it's better to run away. What? Just at this moment, Bartholomew Lorelei seemed to have received some communication from the other side, and her expression became unsightly. 272. Hell scroll swoosh. Bullets pierced through the shattered armor on Saber's shoulder that had been broken before. In the distance, arrows pierced through Alucard's skull. Crash, crash. Pairs of magus rushed over, setting up barriers around, enclosing Alucard within. Silver bullets, prepare. Didn't they say silver doesn't work against him? After all, he's a vampire. It should be more effective than ordinary attacks. Attack. Bang, 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 bang. The magus didn't use their preset magecraft spells. Instead, they used mercury-tipped bullets prepared in anticipation of facing Alucard. The moment they confirmed Alucard as their enemy, their weapons were already ready. Bounded field ready. Trap him, don't let him escape. Crack, crack. Blood sprayed from Alucard's body, but it was somehow contained, not splattering out. It was a bounded field. Layer after layer of bounded field, allowing entry but not exit. Sizzle, sizzle. The surroundings of the barrier were filled with high temperatures when Alucard touched the bounded field. The scent of burning flesh wafted from his fingertips. Go! Let him experience the professionalism of the clone squad. Mavis, standing on a high place, gave the command. After some time, the gunfire ceased. Now, the bounded field was enveloped in blood. The inside couldn't be seen at all. Roar. At the next moment, a giant black dog broke through the bounded field and rushed into the midst of the magus. Bang! But, unlike before, the magus had their defenses up this time. 2 familiars stopped the black dog, and in the next moment, a magus reinforced his entire body. With one strike, he pierced through the black dog's brain, ending the life of this familiar. It's over, Alucard. Your characteristics have decided that without using your noble phantasm, you can't break through the encirclement of this clone squad. Mavis sighed. Ha ha. Ha ha ha. Breakthrough? Just with you guys? Mavis's pupils slightly contracted. In the pool of blood, several figures slowly crawled out. Are those dead apostles? Mavis's pupils slightly contracted. They were high-ranking dead apostles. The ones who should have been killed. For some reason, they appeared under his command. Even with the clone squad, it might not be possible to defeat 2 high-ranking dead apostles simultaneously. Now, there were 3 of them. Not only that, there were also representatives from the Holy Church. And Nolan Erskine. One of the representatives looked at the figure crawling out of Alucard's blood, his face turned pale, and his mouth twitched. They were his former comrades who had now become part of the River of Death under Alucard. Monster, hee hee. Ha ha ha. Well then, Magus, face the monster that is your enemy. So, what are you, human, dogs, or monsters? Swoosh, swoosh. 2 arrows were shot towards the dead apostles crawling out of Alucard's blood, but then they were blocked by a wing. So Magus, your enemies are monsters. Come, heroic spirits. facing you is also a heroic spirit, equally a heroic spirits in battle. Roar. A roar erupted. From Alucard's blood emerged a white dragon roaring. What is this? Mordred couldn't believe what she was seeing, looking at the white dragon, sensing a familiar feeling. Although she had never seen Vortigern, but the moment she saw it, she knew, is that the white dragon of Britain that my father faced, the white dragon of Britain. Come, dance. Together with blood, let me show you what hell truly is. From now on, the tickets to hell are discounted. Oh. Blood splattered. Undead monsters, 3 dead apostles, several representatives of the Holy Church, and the magus originally part of the clone squad. In the sky, the white dragon roared. Mordred's sword lost its radiance. Arash kept pulling back the bowstring, aiming his arrows at the sky. Wonderful, this is undoubtedly hell. This scroll, without a doubt, is the scroll of hell, Shakespeare sang aloud. In front of this hell. Yeah, it's not bad indeed. Carlos Copperfield, the master of Shakespeare, affiliated with the Democratic faction, looked at the scene before him and chuckled. He smirked, lifting the corners of his mouth. Come on, this is how it should be, this is strong enough. Kill everyone. And then die yourself. In this way, the final winner can be determined, and by that time, the final winner will be his servant, the seemingly useless caster. Looking at me like this, I feel a little embarrassed. Shakespeare shrugged his shoulders. Carlos Copperfield twitched his mouth. Get out of here. Yes, then I'll go to a more suitable place to watch the battle. All this in front of us will definitely play a part in the epic of the whole world. Damn monsters. The magus trembled. In their lives, they had seen various kinds of monsters, various kinds of dead apostles. Even if their hearts were destroyed, they could regenerate. Even if their heads were chopped off, they could come back to life. But, all of this had a limit, and not knowing the countermeasure wasn't terrifying. Knowing the countermeasure was even more terrifying. For example, now, if they didn't know what Alucard was, if they didn't know what Alucard was up to, they could try various ways to kill him, use magecraft to dismember him with a smile, use magecraft to turn him into a corpse. But, at the moment when everything became known, it was different. There was only one way to kill him, at least, for them. The only way to do it was only once facing his several million souls, kill him hundreds of thousands of times. This way, they would win. This way, they would be victorious. But, what kind of joke is this? How could this be something humans can do? How could someone achieve such a thing? No, there is one. Alucard aimed his gun at a magus who had lost both legs. As for being unable to do it yourselves, are you really human? Or are you dogs? Probably just dogs. Bang, saw everyone, the gates of hell have just opened. 273. Just the beginning. Oh, isn't this Bartholomew Lorelei? Alucard pulled the trigger, killing the last magus standing in front of him, laughing madly. It's a pity, all your subordinates, your dogs, are already dead. Not one left. How about that? Any thoughts? Around them, hell had already taken shape. Countless corpses lay on the ground. Rivers of blood flowed towards the center, towards Alucard. In the distance, Saber and Archer were still dealing with the white dragon. Despite numerous wounds, the dragon continued to roar. The sky darkened, not due to the setting sun or appearing storm clouds, but because of bats. At some point, the sky had become filled with bats, blocking out the sun. How about it? This drama, after dealing with those two, you now have only 2 cards left in your hand. Alucard extended his hand, smiling. As for that caster, he doesn't have much combat power, does he? Or do you think he can use his noble phantasm against me? Bartholomew Lorelei clenched her fists tightly. Responding to the communication, she hurried over, only to witness the hell unleashed before her. It was laid bare, revealing the gruesome scene. This was her mistake, the core of the clone squad is her. Without her, they can't unleash their full combat power at all. Even if she's just there commanding, they can still exhibit a far superior combat capability. But, now, everything is over. Her squad has ended. Now, how are you prepared? For revenge. Consider it revenge. With the wind, Bartholomew Lorelei fell to the ground. Since such a thing has happened, there is no reason to turn a blind eye. HMPH. Ha ha ha, what a pity, my target is not you, at least not now. Alucard laughed, you've been left behind. Alucard. Bartholomew Lorel's face turned ugly. Watching him turn towards the other side to fight the white dragon, leaving Mordred behind. Looking at the corpses on the ground, Bartholomew Lorelei just clenched his fists lighter, blood flowing from the gaps between his fingers. Is there anyone alive? Anyone alive? Silence, none. Are they all dead? My squad. Is this all there is? Is it so simple to fall into the hands of monsters? Still no clear answer. Everyone is dead. Servant's reinforcement was in vain. Her squad was so powerless against that monstrous monster. Ryder can't move, unless using a command spell. The hidden berserker is also gone. When did things start spiraling out of her control? Right. It began when that Dio appeared. From that moment, everything started to go awry. The situation in her hands has slipped away, the conversation. Part of it should be the Holy Grail. In exchange for them, the Mages Association obtained the Holy Grail. The balance of the world began to shift. But it's not over. Things are far from over. She still has Ryder. And that king. It's impossible to lose. Absolutely impossible. She initiated this Holy Grail war, so victory must be obtained. Give it all. Sleep. Then sleep. I will drag every one of you out from that monster's body and send you to hell after cutting you down. Don't think about hiding, and don't even think about escaping. Exhausted, huh? Can you still fight? You don't need to worry about that. Mordred glanced at Alucard from behind as she tightened her grip on her sword, feeling the heaviness of the sword. What? Are you here to mock me? Well, one won't give you the chance. Master Mordred no longer looked at Alucard. Instead, her gaze was fixed on the sky, where the white dragon soared. Ah, I see. I want to win. Mordred spoke to the white dragon. That's the enemy of my father. Father killed that white dragon. This time. I want to take him down. Let me be the one to kill him, please. I understand, Kyrie, gazing at the back of his hand with the command spell, said after a moment of silence. Hey, will you participate in the next Holy Grail war? Haha, assuming. Mordred laughed. Well, when I think about it carefully, I don't have any wishes to entrust to the Holy Grail anymore. But, occasionally, going for a stroll in a world like this isn't bad, right? That's truck. So, Kyrie looked at the command spell on the back of her hand. Saber, go, kill that white dragon. Understood, Master. Mordred shouted as she rushed towards the white dragon. This time I'll be the one to subjugate you. The light on her sword dimmed. After slowly, the light overflowed, covering her entire body. Oh, Alucard had no intention of stopping the white dragon or anything similar. He just watched, laughing after Mordred shouted, "This is humanity, it always makes me burst into laughter. Truly beautiful, let me see your radiance." Clarent Blood Arthur. Up until now, the light had never shone so brightly on her sword. Despite the fact that the light should have been completely extinguished, it once again shone brightly. The light pillar pierced through the heart of the white dragon. Haha, I did it. Father -1, defeated this king. Can you acknowledge me now? Father. Bang. Powerlessly, she fell to the ground. Exceeding her own capabilities, putting forth all her strength, Saber felt extremely weak throughout her body. Clap, clap, clap. Alucard approached, clapping his hands, smiling. Congratulations, congratulations, you finally managed to kill him, but is that enough? Indeed, if it were the real white dragon, he should have been eliminated by now. However, isn't that the case now? What you face isn't a white dragon, it's a monster. Is it over now? Oh, it's over. Mordred slowly sat up, saying, I'm satisfied anyway. As for you, well, who cares about you? However, even as she said that, she raised her sword towards Alucard. But since you still want to fight, come on then. That's right. It's just like that. Alucard grinned. The war has only just begun. 274 Saber exits. Kyrie, observing the approaching figure, took a puff of his cigarette. Oh. It's you. Kazuya, who had just changed his clothes, said casually. He had just collected the broken strands of phantasmal species hair. After a battle, his ropes and scarves were already worn out. The gloves had several holes, barely usable. However, due to the disruption of his spells, he could no longer completely conceal the aura of the curses inscribed on them. Bartholomew Lorelei was indeed formidable. In his eyes, she was even stronger than the weakened version of Dearmood. None of his diverse techniques worked against her. In terms of magical power and ability, she was at the top. Whether it was melee or ranged combat, he was overwhelmed from all sides. Occasionally, he could inflict a bit of damage on her, but it relied on Avalon creating an illusion that he couldn't be killed. This disturbed her mind. If it were a dead apostle or something with immortality, it might not be effective, as she understood dead apostles very well. However, a human had exceeded her expectations, coupled with the various abilities he had displayed earlier. It created some illusions for her. Otherwise, things could have gone south. So, still want to fight? Spare me. Kakiri waved his hand, saying, "Look, I no longer have any spells, I'm no longer a master. Let's end it here, the battle." Sure. Although he said that, Kairi, who was actually preparing to take out his weapons, was slightly stunned. Was this guy really not going to fight? What's wrong? Surprised, Kazuya chuckled, "After all, I never intended to kill you from the beginning, just to restrain you. After all, my target is not you masters, but those servants." Is that so, then, do you know? Kairi looked at Kazuya, trying to see if he could shake him. "Oh, I know. Don't underestimate me." Kazuya walked forward, heading towards Alucard. The gun is in his hand, the bullets are loaded by him, aiming is done by him, and the trigger is pulled by him. But the killing intent is mine. Those listed in my sparing list don't include them. Then, am I on the list? Haha, reluctantly, yes. As long as you don't get in the way too much, you won't die. I see. Well, thanks for that, Kairi said. So, is Bartholomew Lorelei the one who should be tolerated the most? You didn't make a move when you could have killed her. Why? You have too many questions. Do I need to say it? She's my fan. Doesn't she like my manga? So giving her some privilege isn't a big deal, right? Watching Kazuya walk away, Kairi exhaled a smoke ring. Indeed, it's good to be a big shot from the clock tower. The reason for holding back was also clear. Because it was Bartholomew Lorelei, her surname was Bartholomew, the one in control of the entire clock tower. If he really killed her, he would face the pursuit of the entire clock tower. Even if Wizard Marshall said anything, it would be useless. However, if it were him, avoiding it shouldn't be difficult. But that would mean he couldn't draw manga anymore, couldn't produce animations. In other words, your weakness has been found, mangaka. But leave this kind of thing to others. I should exit as well. Saying that, he slowly stood up. He wondered how things are on Saber's side. However, he had no intention of going to check. The command spell had been used up, the last one had been used. Now it was just a matter of waiting. As for the next Holy Grail war, in reality, whether it was him or that Saber, they probably didn't care anymore. It was a good dream. Hey, Saber, retreat. Urash shattered Alucard into a puddle of blood, saying, "We've already failed this time." "No you go," Modred said as she slowly stood up, and her seemingly lifeless body was once again filled with strength. What is this? Urash looked at Modred in astonishment. The final command spell. How is it? He's a good master, right? Modred asked. Yes, he's a good master. Urash smiled and said, "Well then. I'll leave first." Bang, bang. 2 bullets were fired at Urash, but he deflected them with his arrows. Did I say anyone could leave? Alucard, resurrected with the bloodlight, said, "Everyone. No one can escape. Everyone must stay. If you want to leave, there's only one way: kill me, pierce my heart with arrows, pierce my heart with a sword. Then I'll fulfill your wish." Modred laughed loudly and rushed towards Alucard. This was already the final battle. Without a master, even using the last command spell, she couldn't exist for too long. Since that was the case, let's fight. The final moments, the final madness, the final battle. Bullets clashed with the edge of the sword. Both sides of the battle had long ceased to care about the injuries on their bodies. Urash spread his arrows, said nothing, then released them. Safe travels, Saber. The next moment, he turned into a burst of light and disappeared. Even Alucard, with Saber blocking his way, couldn't keep Urash behind. When Kazuya arrived, this was the scene he saw. What he saw at the end was Alucard's arm piercing through Modred's chest, extracting her heart. It's over, it's finally over. Yes, it's over. Coughing up blood, the fading Modred lay on the ground. How about it? Won't you pull me into your river of death? No, there's no need. Go, human, go to the throne of heroes. Saying this, Alucard turned his head, and said to the approaching his master, right. Master, of course, unless you want to end her life now and pull her into my river of death. No, it's okay. You decide on your own for this matter. Kazuya looked at the fallen Madrid and said, by the way, when I came, I saw your master. Now, he should be ready to leave Egypt. Is that so? That's good, that's good. 275 Kurikawa Kazuya's weaknesses. Looking at the sky, where the sun was about to set, Kazuya spoke, we still have some time before the night battle. Let's take a rest first. The daytime battle can end here, the real battle is at night. Understood, my master. It has become quiet. Noel Laird sighed slightly as he looked at the now deserted Mages Association headquarters. The clone squad had disappeared earlier. Although it seemed that Bartholomew Lorelei had the idea of reorganizing the clone squad after returning to the Mages Association, estimating that it would be a lengthy and arduous project. And now, with the failure of this Holy Grail war. Yes, this kind of thing had never crossed mind before. Because Gilgamesh was manageable. Now it seemed that Gilgamesh and Pharaoh were evenly matched. And on this side, with Enkidu, or Rash, there should be no loss. However, dealing with the Black Lancer, Alucard, was proving to be difficult. How could they kill him? How could they make him unleash his noble phantasm? The only way to make him use his noble phantasm seemed to be to make Lancer's master not care about winning the Holy Grail war anymore, not think about anything, just let Lancer unleash his noble phantasm. That way, they could win, that way, they had a chance. But, the problem returned. How could they make Alucard use his noble phantasm? This was something that everyone wanted to avoid as much as possible, but now they hoped that he would use it sooner. This was not only he concerned but also Bartholomew Lorelei. Now, with almost all the names and abilities of the characters in the Holy Grail War revealed, the remaining task was figuring out how to deal with them. But this was proving to be quite difficult. For Alucard, perhaps knowing his true name was the most difficult thing. Just like when Saber first faced Alucard. Even if he resurrected, it didn't matter. He could resurrect and be killed again, resurrect and be killed again. But, when Saber learned Alucard's true name, knew his abilities. What? Kill him a few million times. How many times had he killed him just now? 3 times, 4 times, or 5 times? Then compare it to how he was panting now. A sense of powerlessness and despair would naturally surge. In this way, maybe he could kill him dozens or even hundreds of times without knowing, but knowing, maybe even 10 times would be difficult. The situation was similar when Bartholomew Lorelei fought against Kurikawa Kazuya. However, here they were completely unaware. Having seen Kurikawa Kazuya take down Dio, gaining Dio's abilities and the power of the Star Platinum, dealing with Alucard's abilities should not be impossible. Looking at him over there, relaxed and confident. And, there was no sign of using command spells to call Akato. Bartholomew Lorelei felt a bit uneasy. When she became anxious, her attacks became chaotic. Although she still killed Kurikawa Kazuya several times, she felt that there was no hope, and his mind couldn't help but think, do I have to kill him a few million times? Could it be that this guy's life is shared with Alucard? So, not to mention 3 times, even if she killed Kurikawa Kazuya 10 times, she didn't feel tired, and she was about to gasp for breath. The psychological impact affected the battle. Unknown things were frightening. Enkidu, where are you? Noel Laird couldn't think of any way to contact her servant. Tonight, that Kurikawa Kazuya would definitely take action. The relationship between the hunter and the prey had changed. Since he couldn't kill him, the situation of targeting the master no longer existed. Now, all they could do was try their best to kill Alucard. Oh, Lancer's master. Kairi Shishigo. Noel Laird looked at the approaching Saber's master. No, he should say the Saber's master from before, who said, what? Is there something? Ah, well, sort of. Kairi Shishigo, without changing his pace, walked over and said, I can somewhat consider that I've found Kurikawa Kazuya's weaknesses. Just wanted to let you know before I leave. What? Whom were you talking about? Noel Laird raised an eyebrow slightly. You're saying you found Kurikawa Kazuya's weaknesses? Yeah, that's right, Kairi Shishigo nodded. His weakness, if I guessed correctly, it's the original manuscript. Kurikawa Kazuya drew the original manuscript himself. What? does that mean? Didn't Shakespeare say it already? Kurokawa Kazuya have been drawing something all along, that something is his weakness. If you destroy it, that guy will go berserk, Kairi Shishigo said with a smile. Don't say I didn't tell you, you wanted achievements, right? Consider this a gift. With that, he turned around, waved his hand, and walked away with a suitcase in hand. Well then, I'm leaving. The battle is over, and you probably won't need me anymore, right? Of course, even if you need me, I'll still leave and won't come back. Noelle Lavard remained stunned for quite a while before slowly regaining her composure. In other words, if we destroy Kurokawa Kazuya's original manuscript, he will go berserk, and if he goes berserk, he will let Lancer unleash his noble phantasm, right? Of course. Kairi Shishigo said that for a reason, and now he understood. Let him be the villain. If he found out who did it, he would surely have the heart to kill that person. But he had no choice but to take this risk. Just as Kairi Shishigo said, he yearned for achievements. If in the end, he could obtain the Holy Grail. If in the end, his wish led him to make a wish. HC hoped to make a wish to reach the root. If that happened, as long as he succeeded in becoming a magician. So, even if he offended people, even if Kurokawa Kazuya wanted revenge later, it didn't matter. As long as he could win, everything else didn't matter. And if he lost, it didn't matter either, everything would be meaningless. 276 Eve of the decisive battle. I see. Kurokawa Kazuya's original manuscript. Bartholomew Lorelei pondered for a moment. Alright, let's take action then, destroy his original manuscript, but first, we need to find out where he is, right? Should I launch an attack? Yes. Bartholomew Lorelei nodded. The task is entrusted to you. Although we have roughly determined his location, the more specific details will be left to your investigation. Wait, stop. Shakespeare, who appeared out of nowhere, exclaimed, it doesn't matter about other things, but don't mess with the original manuscript. The manuscript is innocent. The pain of having the manuscript destroyed suddenly when it's time to submit, can you understand? I see, looks like you've experienced it. When it happened, Shakespeare spread his arms. Although I tried my best to avoid it, I've encountered such things a few times. Well, I understand. It's settled, then. Bartholomew Lorelei nodded with a smile. Take him down, Archer. Understood, leave it to me. Having said that, Archer simply disappeared into spiritual form. Okay, this is also done. Looking at the completed original manuscript in front of him, Kurokawa Kazuya nodded in satisfaction. He vividly depicted the white dragon of Britain Vortigern he encountered before. Whether it was for making manga or animation, it would serve as a good reference. Right. He could try to make Garden of Avalon. By then, there would be more subjects for his transformation. As for whether he could do it well, he wasn't worried. After all, everyone in the world of Jojo is an industry elite. Everything's stable. Moreover, with the support of his original manuscript, there was no reason for it to fail. At the next moment, he slowly put away the original manuscript and placed it in a safer place. Alucard. Ah, I sense it. Alucard walked in from the wall and smiled. That's Archer, right? Yeah. Kazuya nodded. Although it just turned dark, it's still good. We can save ourselves from searching. Let's go, Alucard, take care of them. Wait. Smack. Kazuya caught something Alucard threw, a stone. What's this? This is yours, right? I'm returning it to you. Alucard said, standing by the window. Well then. I'm going. Although I don't know how you found me. Well, after all, it's the Mages Association, they have their ways. As for whether killing all members of the clone squad by his servant would face retaliation, it shouldn't happen. With Bartholomew Lorelei's personality, if she lost, she lost. She wouldn't do things like blaming others and finding trouble afterward. If she didn't do it, the people below wouldn't dare to make trouble on their own. However, it would be inconvenient to go to the Mages Association in the future. It was quite awkward. Hello. Just at this moment, a voice came from behind Kazuya. Boom. Without hesitation, Kazuya, with ripples, threw a punch. Do you have to start a fight as soon as we meet? The person in front of him raised a hand and easily blocked Kazuya's fist. Are you Enkidu? Ah, yes. Enkidu nodded. I am Lancer of the Red Faction, Enkidu. Hello, Master of the Black Faction. Enkidu smiled gently. Why are you here? Kazuya took 2 steps back slightly. Alucard should be delayed by Arash now. That means, if it doesn't work, he can only consume another command spell himself. Don't be afraid, I won't attack you. Enkidu smiled gently. My master's order is only to destroy this place. What? Well, although this order is a bit strange, but now I am a servant after all, and I must obey. Enkidu smiled a little embarrassedly. So, let me say hello to you first, so let's start now. Start. Kazuya was slightly stunned. Even if you destroy this place, what can? Original manuscript. Ah, right, according to my master's instructions, all drawing paper and the like must be completely destroyed. Stop it. Sorry, but it's too late. Boom. Alucard stopped his actions for a moment and looked at the room where Kazuya was. Master. Is everything okay? Master. No. Nothing at all. Kazuya struggled to catch his breath. Fortunately, the original manuscripts here were just a part. Most of them weren't here, and he remembered the details of those even better. But even if they were restored, certainly, it wouldn't be as detailed as watching them draw while fighting. I'm really annoyed. In the ruins, Kazuya slowly stood up, with an unpleasant expression. Alucard, I command you. Swish. In an instant, in the middle of the battle between Archer and Enkidu, Alucard stopped and laughed. That's right. That's how it should be. Come give me orders. First, go to Zamalek Island and obtain the Holy Grail there. Kill all the obstacles. Whether it's a servant of the Red Faction or a servant of the Black Faction. Whether it's the Holy Church or the Mages Association. Search and destroy. Slaughter all without mercy. End this Holy Grail war. Restrained full release, ready to use the River of Death at any time. Ready to use your noble phantasm. Ha. Mission confirmed, as you wish, my master. Huff. In an instant, Alucard turned into a shadow, turned into a bat. Disappeared from Arash's arrows. 277 Zamalek Island. That is. Arash stopped his bow and arrows, watching the countless bats flying in the distance. Where is he heading? I remember that direction is towards the Nile River. Enkidu materialized beside him and said. The Nile River. So, Zamalek Island. Arash looked into the distance. Zamalek Island, located in the Nile River, was the island under the Cairo Tower. In other words, Ruler and the Holy Grail were there. As Alucard's target the Holy Grail, Alucard is heading towards Zamalek Island. Bartholomew suddenly stood up. No, I can't just watch. I must stop him. She closed her eyes slowly as she spoke. Relying solely on her wouldn't be enough, even if she was unwilling. They had to prevent that pharaoh from taking action. Although the end of the Holy Grail war was still some time away, but if Alucard intended to target the Holy Grail, they couldn't sit idly by. This was true for anyone. They had to seize the Holy Grail again, otherwise, it would be disastrous. If Alucard really got the Holy Grail, it meant they couldn't unleash large-scale offensive capabilities. Neither Archer's nor Ryder's noble phantasms would work. Or else, a slight misstep might end up destroying the Holy Grail. That would be disastrous, rendering all sacrifices made so far in vain. So, the Holy Grail. Ozymandias received the communication from Bartholomew Lorelei. Indeed, to obtain a true physical form, I still need the Holy Grail. Otherwise, I can only experience the breath of life within my temple. He had indeed acquired Dio's ability. But like many other abilities, it could only be used within the confines of his temple. Outside this temple, he remained powerless. Now, the Holy Grail war was coming to an end. After a long period of silence, he had to make a move. Also, let this be proof of my imminent rule over the world. Let the world witness my radiance. Boom. As he spoke, Ozymandias's ultimate noble phantasm, Remesium Tentirus, began to slowly rise and turned into a beam of light, heading towards the central area of Cairo, to Zamalek Island in the middle of the Nile River. Come, welcome, for this is my palace. Ha. England, London, have you heard? Bartholomew Lorelei seems to have encountered a major failure. Yeah, I heard that all the magus from her squad have been wiped out. So, this is the Holy Grail war. Professor Velvet is really powerful. It's not just luck. Right, one time could be considered luck, but in manga and reality. And, even now, proven effective. One can stay hard until dawn. Hardness and thickness, both considered at once. Quiet down a bit, Waver Velvet, who pushed open the door, looked at the classroom and said. He frowned slightly. Why did he feel that the people in the classroom were looking at him a little differently? More admiration than usual. Forget it, let's start today's lesson, there's only one topic for today. Waver waited until the classroom quieted down and said, what should we do if the ley lines disappears? The Mages Association is stronger than the Holy Church. But strength has its limits. After this Holy Grail War, the situation might reverse. The strong might no longer be the Mages Association but the Holy Church. Such a situation should be avoided. It must be avoided. As for the method of avoidance, it's simple. It's to ensure that all the people sent out by the Holy Church this time die. However, achieving such a situation is not easy. In the current situation, even the Holy Church might not take action. The Holy Church's goal is to destroy the Holy Grail. Now, Alucard's actions are almost achieving their goal. Moreover, even if Ozymandias arrives, he might not hold back. After all, he couldn't destroy the Holy Grail. But Gilgamesh wouldn't have such concerns. Their goal from the beginning was to destroy the Holy Grail. In this case, one with concerns, the other wielding their power recklessly. So, between these two, who were originally not much different in strength, who would win? This was a question without suspense, right? Unless, the Holy Grail was placed in Ryder's Grand Temple, that pyramid. If it was in that pyramid, there wouldn't be as many worries. Originally, Bartholomew Lorelei had her reservations. She didn't trust that king. So, she didn't transfer the Holy Grail to that pyramid but kept it in the underground of the Egyptian branch of the Mages Association. This Egyptian branch, called the Atlas Institute, was established, and its security was quite guaranteed. Coupled with the pervasive poison of assassin throughout the entire space, it seemed foolproof to her. As for the possibility of servants infiltrating, she regarded it as equivalent to her own defeat. So, she didn't even consider this point. Unexpectedly, a figure like Dio appeared. Almost an omnipotent ability. Even if she knew what this ability was, she couldn't figure out how to deal with it. As for the Atlas Institute, although Bartholomew Lorelei had confirmed that when summoning in Egypt, they had decided not to take a slot from them, they were rejected. Those people didn't want it. Leave the continuation of the ley line to the clock tower. That was the original words of the Atlas Institute. This was also understandable. For them, even if the ley line disappeared, it wouldn't matter much. Now, to Bartholomew Lorelei, it seemed like a gathering place for weaklings who claimed to be magus, without magical aptitude. Even so, facing the current situation, even Bartholomew Lorelei had to change her mindset and had to rely on Ozymandias to hold the Holy Grail. Otherwise, their servants wouldn't be able to use large-scale noble phantasms, and the result might be that the Holy Grail, along with Zamalek Island, would disappear from this world. If they didn't have such noble phantasms, they wouldn't be able to deal with the River of Death. Is this Kurokawa Kazuya's plan? He's really troublesome to the end. 278 Ending ahead of time. The pyramid in the middle of the desert has started moving. Ryder has also started moving. The moment Ozymandias set out, the Holy Church received the information. So it's about time. Gilgamesh put down the chess piece in his hand and chuckled. How about it, Kirel? Can you reveal your plans now? Oh, what do you mean? It's simple. Gilgamesh stood up, smiling. In the face of the current situation, even this king has to take action. After all, this might be the end. If we're too slow, by the time this king arrives, both sides may have already decided the victor. Sitting here to determine the outcome is just boring. The final battle between me and Enkidu hasn't even started yet. Gilgamesh looked down at Kirei Kotomine with a faint smile. So, understand, Kirei. My patience with you is not unlimited, it's not endless. Now, the Holy Grail War is about to enter its conclusion. This is the king's last inquiry. Kirei, what exactly are you planning? HMPH. Kirei Kotomine's mouth slowly curved into a deeper smile. Fine, it's about time. There's no harm in telling you. King of Heroes, obtain the Holy Grail. Oh, Gilgamesh chuckled slowly. Isn't the Holy Church's goal to completely destroy the Holy Grail? What's this? Have you changed your mind? No, it's just a simple reason. According to the Mages Association's research, the Holy Grail can prolong the ley lines. So, can such a Holy Grail accelerate the early recession of the ley lines? Quote. Gilgamesh raised an eyebrow slightly, then laughed. Ha 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 ha, Kire, you really are a complete clown. But what meaning does it have for you to do this? Kire Kotomine stood up. The Holy Grail War, this is my second time participating, and it should be the last. With the lessons from this time, even if we lose this Holy Grail War, the Mages Association will still control the Holy Grail. The recession of the ley line is still several years away, only truly disappearing in the year 2000. In this way, taking the lessons from this time into account, even if we lose this time, the next Holy Grail War might involve 6 masters from the Mage Association against a lone master. This outcome is almost certain. So, Kire Kotomine continued, smiling happily and laughing. What if we expedite the recession of the ley line? I remember the Mages Association is currently studying plans like, what to do if the ley line disappears. However, this takes time. And one of the factions has placed their bet on Bartholomew Lorelei, hoping she can successfully prolong the ley line. So, in this situation, if we obtain the Holy Grail and make a wish for the early recession of the ley line, the outcome is something that can be easily imagined. I see. Is this your goal? Is this your wish? Ha ha ha, indeed, it's quite interesting. Gilgamesh laughed until tears came out of his eyes. Very well, let me help you obtain the Holy Grail. With that, the attire on Gilgamesh began to change slowly. His clothes gradually disappeared, revealing the upper half of his body covered in red patterns. The golden armor had already shattered. Fortunately, the armor Dio encountered was his, or else, if it was his body, even Gilgamesh would have to return to the throne of heroes. If he were to fight Dio, the only thing he could do was long-range attacks, while being cautious of Dio getting close at any moment. He couldn't even use Aya, except for small-scale uses. If he fully unleashed it, the charging time alone would be enough for Dio to kill him several times. Of course, that's only in theory. In reality, Gilgamesh didn't think he would lose if they really fought. Please, King of Heroes. Obtain the Holy Grail. Very well, Gilgamesh walked forward, saying, that's it then. Open your eyes wide. Watch the radiance of the King of Heroes attentively. Ah! Bang! Watching Gilgamesh break through the ceiling in an instant and soar into the sky, Kire Kotomine slowly turned around. The corners of his mouth carried an increasingly deep smile, difficult to contain. Just like that, if the ley line really recedes ahead of time, the faces of those magus must be quite amusing. Certainly quite amusing. He's already a bit impatient. On the other side of the wall, leaning there, Ambrose Conant tilted his head slightly. Get ready, prepare to take action. Yes, so, what's the target? To obtain the Holy Grail, to prematurely end the continuation of the ley line, Ambrose Conant said. I agree with this goal. Tick tick tick. In front of the Holy Grail. Marta, who was reading a manga, put down the book in her hand, took a deep breath, and looked at the bats surrounding her. So, it's Alucard. Hee, indeed. The bats gathered together, forming the figure of Alucard in front of Marta. What are you planning? Marta said cautiously. It's simple, to get that Holy Grail. Alucard laughed maniacally, looking at Marta in front of him. Step aside, Saintus. Step aside, Marta. This is the last chance. Alucard took out a gun, pointing it at Marta. It ends here. This game, like playing house, should come to an end now. Step aside. Are you talking about me? Marta placed the book aside and clenched her gauntlets. Yes, exactly. Alucard laughed. I've already received the order, oh, my master. Search and destroy. Kill the enemy on sight. Even so, if you insist on standing in my way. So what? Marta rushed towards Alucard and punched his head. Bang, bang. The next moment, bullets shot out from under Marta's feet, leaving a wound on her ankle. If you stand in the way, you die. No matter who you are. 279 Gathering together. Damn it, Martha took 2 steps back, watching as Alucard approached the Holy Grail, and his expression became increasingly unpleasant. Indeed, even she had no way to deal with Alucard. However, this was said without considering her class abilities. Stop, you haven't won yet, and you can't approach the Holy Grail now. Otherwise, I'll use a command spell. Oh, a command spell. Alucard laughed, then give it a try. A command spell. Hee hee. Come on, try it, see what effect your command spell can really have. As Alucard approached step by step, Marta took a deep breath. Fine. It's the first time someone has made such a request. Since you want me to use a command spell, then fine -1, Saint Martha, in the name of ruler, command you, Alucard. What's wrong? Why did you stop? Alucard laughed. Continue, maybe you can kill me with that command spell. In the name of the command spell, I order you. Stand there and don't move. What? Alucard's legs suddenly stiffened in place. No, he couldn't move completely. Rather, his movements became extremely slow, as if he were bound by something. You, bastard. Alucard's face turned ugly. HMPH. Don't take me for a fool. Martha looked at Alucard and said, you probably thought I would command you to release the river of death or commit suicide, right? Well, who knows if one command spell is enough to make you release the river of death. As for making you commit suicide, even if you dig out your own heart and smash your brain, you won't die, right? So stand there and don't move. In the name of the second command spell, I command you once again, stand still. Martha used up both command spells in an instant, and she felt a sudden sense of relief. Her mood instantly improved. Yes, that's it. HMPH. A guy like you should just stay put and not wander around. Just stay in place. HMPH. Ha ha ha. What are you laughing at? Martha looked at Alucard, who was laughing heartily, with dissatisfaction. Oh, nothing. Just find it amusing. Alucard looked at Martha's hair fluttering in the wind and said, you only made me stand still, but sometimes certain things can't be done without moving, you know. You should command me not to approach the Holy Grail instead. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Martha's forced smile froze on her face. She didn't expect that. And besides, how long can a command spell like this bind me? 1 hour, 2 hours, or 10 hours? What can you do in such a short time? Nothing. When the time comes, you still won't be able to stop me. The Holy Grail will still fall into my hands. Enough with the nonsense. Deal with it when the time comes. Now. No. Just then, a voice from a distance interrupted Marta's words, and both Alucard and Marta quickly turned their heads. They saw a pyramid flying towards them in the distance. In this dark night, it seemed to emit a radiant light, as if the sun on the ground. Red Faction Writer's Noble Phantasm. Martha was slightly surprised. Why is he coming at this time? Hee hee. The target is the same as mine, the Holy Grail. That's right. The Holy Grail belongs to me, destined to be mine. Is there a more suitable place in the world for the Holy Grail to be in my hands? No. Boom. The pyramid arrived in front of Martha and Alucard, and in front of the Holy Grail, it crushed the ruins below, falling to the ground. I am the Pharaoh, the king among kings. Is there a more suitable place in the world for the Holy Grail to be in my hands? No. As he spoke, several sphinxes appeared from the fallen pyramid, walking towards the location of the Holy Grail. The goal was simple: to transport the Holy Grail to the temple. Ah, 1 or 2 of them. Martha, dissatisfied, said, servants, writer. In the name of the command spell, I order you, whether it's you or your subordinates, do not touch the Holy Grail until all other servants are defeated. The sphinxes paused for a moment. But it was just a moment. The next moment, the sphinxes resumed their movements. Huh, why? Martha was stunned for a moment. Wasn't the command spell effective? Ha ha ha, useless. Unworthy. Unfounded. Useless. I am the God King. Do you think I can't resist even such a command spell? If you want to force me with a command spell, prepare 10 command spells. Just 2 command spells are not enough. Ozymandias laughed heartily inside the pyramid. Dealing with him inside the pyramid was useless with a command spell. Of course, this was thanks to Dio's ability. As long as he was inside this pyramid, in this temple, he could use magical energy to realize his desired changes to reality. Currently, he had several magus from the Mages Association supplying him with magical energy. It could be said that he had a sufficient, but not infinite, supply of magical energy. However, being able to fight in a Holy Grail war at this level was already enough. Boom, 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 boom. The next moment, from the sky, a rain of noble phantasms fell. Countless noble phantasms instantly killed all the sphinxes in front of the Holy Grail. Ha ha ha, ignorant mongrel. Who gave you the courage to touch my treasure, the Holy Grail? Ha ha ha. What are you saying, Golden King? The Holy Grail clearly belongs to me. Ozymandias looked at Gilgamesh, who had appeared in the sky, and said dissatisfiedly, in the world, is there anyone other than me who deserves to possess the Holy Grail? No, there isn't. The Holy Grail is most suitable for me to obtain, only for me. Even you, trying to stop me, is too arrogant. Wrong. Mongrel. Everything in the heavens and earth belongs to me, Gilgamesh alone. How dare you, a lowly mongrel, try to touch my treasure? Are you ready to die? 280 Collision. It looks like we don't need to intervene. Urash and Enkidu were nearby. In fact, they arrived not long after Alucard got here, but they didn't have the chance to take action until now. It seemed Alucard was held back by that saint. No, Enkidu said, stepping forward. Are you going to make a move? Urash smiled. Yes, Enkidu nodded. It has been a pleasant time getting to know you, but it should come to an end here. Goodbye. Well, I'll have to make a move soon too. I'll probably use my trump card this time. Urash smiled happily, showing no concern about leaving the scene after using his noble phantasm. He had no expectations for the Holy Grail. Someone like him responding to the Holy Grail's call was still a mystery to him until now. Enkidu walked step by step toward the center of the battlefield, where the Holy Grail was located. Now, a three-way standoff had formed. Ozymandias's pyramid. Gilgamesh in the sky. Alucard, with a crimson glow, strolling around. A confrontation between the three parties. In the middle was Saint Martha, and the Holy Grail. Enkidu was undoubtedly the one who could break the current deadlock. He had something he hadn't told anyone until now, but even if he didn't say it, someone would know Gilgamesh. The so-called Holy Grail. The skill of fulfilling wishes. Enkidu possessed it too. As long as he had enough magical energy, he could fulfill someone else's wish. However, he had never mentioned this. He never told his master or anyone else. Gilgamesh knew about it probably because he had known for a long time. Only that. It was that simple. Many magus competing for the Holy Grail had never thought that Enkidu's master, who set his sights on the Holy Grail, also possessed this ability. HMPH ha ha ha. Suddenly, Alucard burst into laughter. He laughed heartily at the sudden turn of events. The next moment, he dug out his own heart. And completely crushed it. He hated suicide. Moreover, his feelings toward those who committed suicide were only disgust. So, he wouldn't commit suicide, he only expected others to send him to the grave. However, he was an undead. Occasionally, such things could still be done. Die a little. Once resurrected, he would have completely disappeared. The binding of Martha's spells had completely disappeared. Unlocked. The spell's binding, Martha said in surprise, looking at Alucard, who took a few steps forward. Of course. Originally, I wanted to play with you a bit, but it seems unnecessary now. Alucard looked at the pyramid, the king in the sky, and then glanced behind him. It seems, everyone is here. The participants in this Holy Grail war have all gathered. So let me end this game. No, wait a moment. Before that, a voice came along with footsteps. Wearing a white robe with long green hair, the enchanting Enkidu approached. Smiling, he looked up at the sky and said, Gil. Enkidu. Gilgamesh chuckled. It seems you've made a decision, to obstruct my decision. Gilgamesh said with a smile. Otherwise, how could spell bind you? All right, let's begin. Gilgamesh spoke, and a cylindrical sword appeared in his hand. Awaken. Aya. Enkidu smiled, and around the ruins, tender sprouts emerged. Rider, take action. Bring the Holy Grail here. Haha, Ozymandias laughed. Did you finally wake up a bit this time? That's right, this thing should have been in my hands long ago. If it had happened a bit earlier, so many things wouldn't have occurred. Although, the result was good. Otherwise, Dio would have undoubtedly entered his noble phantasm, his pyramid. Even facing Dio's abilities, Ozymandias would have found it troublesome, and there was a possibility of losing carelessly. But now, Dio's abilities had fallen into his hands. And now, the Holy Grail was about to fall into his hands. It could be said that Bartholomew Lorelchi's plan had, so far, the biggest winner, Ozymandias. Bang, bang, bang. Alucard grinned and pulled the trigger, shooting at the sphinxes preparing to push the Holy Grail forward. He didn't care about what others thought. Those people preparing to use noble phantasms had nothing to do with him. Since he couldn't be killed, so, the only thing to do now was simple. To stop Ryder. In the imminent bombardment. Splat. The next moment, Alucard's entire upper body exploded, turning into countless blood splatters. Arash, holding his bow, said with a smile, "Sorry, I couldn't just stand by, could I?" The next moment, he turned and ran. Although he didn't know if it could reach him, it was better to run just in case. Enuma Elish. Enuma Elish. These were two attacks with exactly the same noble phantasm name. Several days had passed since the Holy Grail War began, and this kind of collision appeared again here. A spear piercing through heaven and earth, tearing apart everything in its path. The walls of the great temple of Ozymandias, capable of withstanding attacks from anti-army noble phantasms, also showed one crack after another. However, they were quickly repaired, constantly cycling between destruction and regeneration. The earth completely tore apart. Alucard was also torn apart in such an attack, turned into a downpour of blood. Unnoticed by anyone, the Holy Grail disappeared. Disappearing along with it was a person. Saint Martha. Finally dodged it. Martha, who had quietly hidden in Ryder's great temple, sighed softly. It was really close. It was so intense, if I hadn't hidden in here, I would probably have returned by now, back to the throne of heroes. Haha, you really have the courage, ruler. At this moment, Ryder's voice came through.